Today, we explore the wild story of Marcus Schrenker, a financial advisor who tried to fake his own death in a plane crash to escape fraud charges. This one's got more twists and turns than a roller coaster. Marcus Schrenker was living the high life in Indiana. He was a successful financial advisor, had a luxurious home, a private plane, and all the fancy cars you could dream of. But behind that shiny facade was a web of deceit and lies. Schrenker was playing a dangerous game with his clients. Money and the financial crisis of 2008 was about to blow his cover. As the economy tanked, Schrenker's shady financial dealings started to unravel. Lawsuits began piling up, and the authorities were hot on his trail. He knew he was in deep trouble and decided to pull off a stunt straight out of a Hollywood movie. On January 11, 2009, Schrenker took off in his single-engine Piper PA-46 from Anderson, Indiana, supposedly heading to Destin, Florida. But he had a different plan. Mid-flight, over Alabama, he made a distress call, claiming that his windshield had shattered and he was bleeding badly. He said he was losing consciousness and needed immediate help. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, here's where things get interesting. Schrenker had meticulously planned this whole thing. After making the distress call, he put the plane on autopilot and parachuted out, leaving the aircraft to crash on its own. He had even stashed a motorcycle in a storage unit near the crash site to make his getaway smoother. The plane eventually crashed in a swampy area near Milton, Florida. When rescue teams arrived, they found the wreckage but no pilot. There was no blood, no sign of a severe injury, and the whole thing smelled fishy. The authorities quickly started to suspect that this was no ordinary accident. Meanwhile, Schrenker was on the run. After parachuting out, he made his way to the storage unit, grabbed his motorcycle, and headed to a pre-planned hideout. He checked into a hotel in Harpersville, Alabama, using a fake name, thinking he could lay low until the heat died down. But Schrenker's grand plan was falling apart faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. The authorities traced his movements and found the storage unit with the motorcycle. They also discovered that he had been making calls to friends and family, trying to arrange further help. It was only a matter of time before they caught up with him. Realizing his plan was crumbling, Schrenker tried to vanish deeper into the Alabama woods. On January 13, 2009, just 2 days after the crash, he was spotted by a local resident near a creek, bleeding and exhausted. The resident called the police, and Schrenker was found hiding in a tent, severely dehydrated and suffering from hypothermia. His grand escape had turned into a pathetic survival story. Schrenker was arrested and taken into custody. The authorities charged him with multiple counts of fraud and for intentionally causing the plane crash. In court, he eventually pled guilty and was sentenced to 51 months in federal prison. Marcus Schrenker's tale is a roller coaster of deception, desperation, and ultimate downfall. His audacious plan to fake his own death was bold, but ultimately stupid. Instead of escaping justice, his actions only led to more notoriety and a harsher punishment. This wild ride is a reminder of the lengths some people will go to avoid facing the consequences of their actions. Schrenker's carefully constructed life of luxury and success crumbled, revealing a man desperate enough to risk everything in a last-ditch effort to dodge the law.